it is. All right, you want to check your thing?
Oh, hello. Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I mean,
You good?
good.
Yeah.
Always hard like this. Come up with
Oh
something
yeah, what to say?
randomly. Testing. 5, 4,
Why people
3.
do the do re mi? Like they do all
Right.
that.
Get something in there.
What's up, good morning, Stephen? Welcome back to yet another reaction. Today we're hopping into Brooklyn Nine-Nine episode number 18, season number 1, called The Apartment. Hopefully it's a great episode. Hopefully it's a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying the series. If you have, you like, you comment, you subscribe to the channel, you head over to Patreon for the full, uncut, unedited reaction episode. Like surely over there if you want them. If you don't, totally cool. Episodes will be here on YouTube whenever they show up. So, previous episode, we had the full boil episode. Holtz, what's his name, right? Holtz?
Holt. Yeah.
Holt or Holtz?
It's Holt.
Holt gave up Holtz is the guy from Angel. Holt. He gave up his position as the leader of the of his equality. It was
Right.
like
It was like the African gay.
yeah, it was like every minority, like his minority
yeah.
thing about group that he has. Somebody else is a leader. Boyle, I believe, got engaged. Did he propose to that woman?
Right.
Like,
Yeah, that was the episode.
He
where
went
got,
full
like,
Boyle, and like, then we found out that she also goes full Boyle. So
right.
I think they got engaged. I could be wrong though. But yeah, so we're gonna hop in here, have a good time, have a few laughs, find out what the apartment's about. Here we go.
Game of catch.
Oh, oh. Wow, he went along with it though. I didn't think he would go along with it.
Thank you for coming in on your day off. I know you'd all rather be at home binge watching media content.
Is that? Get on board.
Come
What
on.
happens if you don't pay? I feel like he breaks your
Jake,
legs.
he is a sea witch in disguise. Do not sing.
Blooded vengeance.
Is this worse than
For her though.
to admit? I mean, yeah, to admit it because we all know it. I mean, it's how it is, and then everybody else
But
knows
for
it.
right, but for her to like sit there and say, yeah, it's true.
Solid,
crazy, though.
pretty good episode though. I
Right.
thought it actually had a lot of like small funny moments.
It gave us backstory on.
Did we know that Gina and Walter were
No,
friends?
at least this is the first time I've heard.
Maybe he's mentioned that they've known each other, but I didn't know that they were like childhood friends.
Right, I thought that maybe he had spoken to her prior, and I'm gonna ask Holt for
Your job?
X amount.
Oh,
I need you to like pitch.
oh, you
and
thought
be
they were
with
the whole,
me.
the whole
Yeah, like
thing.
I thought cause he's always done that with her. Like,
Yeah.
oh, just go along with it type of thing. And
But now it makes sense why he is like that with her because he's known her forever.
right, he got her this job, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. But like he said, like, you know, the whole thing was about the apartment. The rent control thing is like super. So like in Friends, their apartment, Monica and Rachel.
Rachel, yeah.
Is Phoebe there too? Or
Bro, where Phoebe?
well,
right.
their apartment is rent controlled. That's why they
Okay.
can afford it. There's for like a long time. There's been this whole thing in Friends of like how much is that apartment worth? Where they live, the location, all that. And I guess it has to be rent controlled because what their jobs are, they could never afford that apartment.
Right.
Like they live in a very expensive part of like New York.
Right, even the size of that.
Yeah, and what's Monica at this point? She's like an assistant, like
No, she's like chef, right? She's like
an assistant chef.
like a
not
sous
even-
chef, right?
A sous chef, yeah. Like so, like and then Rachel's like a waitress, not even a
Right,
waitress.
at the Central Perk.
Yeah, like yeah. So they're not making bank, right?
Right.
And then what does he do for work at this point? Does she have a job? Yeah. So the actual one that could afford the apartment is probably Chandler and Ross.
Okay, yeah,
Those
'cause
are the
that's-
ones that actually
right, 'cause
have.
Chandler actually have. Yeah, he's like
Yeah,
office
Ross
shop.
is literally the Barney. Chandler's Barney.
right. I was
What's
about to
my
say, yeah,
job?
he works at like right.
Like, what's
You don't
my-
know the job, but you know he works for a business.
So the rent control thing here made sense when I was like, when they were like, oh, it's a co-op, and now you have to either pay for the apartment or get out. Because I forgot how it works with the renters thing, but it makes sense. $400,000 is nuts
right.
for an apartment in New York City, but that's what it costs.
But what does that mean though? Rent control?
Rent control means that your rent never goes. Your rent, like, so when his grandmother was living there, the rent was $200.
Oh,
The rent can never go past a certain amount.
oh, okay.
So
Oh,
people
wow.
a lot. So if you live in a rent controlled apartment, you're paying nothing for an apartment.
That's-
That's like the
right,
value
yeah.
of the apartment is like super high now, but it's rent controlled. So the apartment's actually
Still.
$600
Right.
instead of $2,000. $2,000. Like that's how it is. Like I mean, he's in New York. He's in Brooklyn. Based on the thing, he's paying $4,000 for that apartment probably.
Easily.
without rent control. Yeah, just because of like the fact that it's $400,000 that gets put down to buy it.
Right.
It's got to be like at least $3,000 to $5,000 or $4,000.
Dude, that studio with the bed that didn't even come out all the way. 100.
Seriously, no, like
crazy,
no lie.
yeah.
So it made sense why he wanted it. I actually thought that it was cool that these guys
Dude,
became friends.
to be honest, for a moment, I forgot that they like how
Oh
much
yeah,
he
the both of
annoyed
them.
her
Yeah.
because of how cool they were bonding here.
I also for a second was like, it's like, is she jealous? But then she said, oh, it's just cool. Like you're actually cool when you love somebody else. I legit think that that's the route they're gonna go. I always thought that the route that they would go is that he would at one point she would fall in love, like fall for him.
You don't think eventually?
I don't think so
How is-
anymore.
Right. No.
Because of like, unless I mean his new fiance is kind of old. So maybe they kill her. I don't know.
Right. It's like
Like, oh,
the
she
dark route to
died.
go, but-
Yeah, because like I don't know. This made me think like, oh, maybe they can actually be friends.
I think with Boyle, like whether it's a friendship or a relationship, he's always gonna have the
Yeah.
like what are you
the
doing
weird
right now,
thing
Boyle?
with-
Going full Boyle, basically.
Yeah.
Like he's,
Gina helping out was cool with the apartments and all that. That was awesome. And like we said, like this is a big moment for her at the end when she can't take criticism. Like her flaws were all positives. And then at the end, it took her like that. Her biggest flaw is that she cares too much about what Holt thinks.
you know what's crazy? I thought that her biggest flaw was, in a sense, how much she looked up to Holt, how much, I guess you can say, how much she wanted his approval. I guess that is what she ended up saying, though,
But
right?
essentially, her biggest flaw is she cares too much what he thinks.
Right.
Any
Oh, okay,
negative
yeah.
thing that he does, if he says anything like how she was panicking, and
Right.
he wanted one, she gave like 10, like
She reads lips when they're in there.
oh yeah,
talking.
like randomly, like
That's
she's like she knew
insane,
that it was
dude.
she knew what it was 10 questions, and I thought it was cool that Terry kind of went in there and was like
Oh,
defending his
yeah,
people
I
and
forgot
defending
about
them, and
that.
then he was like,
Dude, he
and then
cares a lot.
Holt was like pretty much said that you should be proud. The whole like Scully and six arrests or
Oh
whatever,
yeah.
they would be so fired. They took a weird turn with this guy too, that he wasn't lying.
Interesting, yo.
This guy's life is just ass now, like completely.
Right.
Has cancer, divorce, wife is wheelchair, I think.
He seemed like such a dick.
Yeah.
Compare like the way they were talking about him, that I was like, oh, he's just doing this so that they can clean up his locker or whatever, and then he's like,
Yeah, they're gonna reveal something.
right, reveal something. but no.
Yeah, and then it just kind of ends with like these two. I mean, that they're friend like that. You know, she likes hanging out with him now. Well, super happy, and Peralta's now living where Gina lives, and Gina's gonna live in the other apartment.
That was
And
fun. Though. That was a really
yeah.
good episode.
That was a good episode. So, hopefully, you guys enjoyed it. We're gonna get out of here, and we'll talk to you guys later.